Hello friends, this is Promi and welcome back to the Kerbal Commonwealth Space Agency. We are here at our space center the morning of the launch of the Gray Vector atop the L6 Inferno. You may notice we have slightly more science than we left off previous episode with. I did have a contract which I thought I had finished, but I actually did not. The laser readings near KSC, off in the hills over that direction. So Jeb and Valentina took the runabout out there to complete that contract, which got us a little bit of science and a little bit of money. Nothing that affects our current mission. I did make a few last-minute changes to the Gray Vector, or more accurately I should say to the containers. I did add these 4 little solar panels onto our capsule because I had neglected to add any electricity generating capacity to this. That would have been somewhat embarrassing, so glad I caught that. And the main thing was I moved the tools to the seat that Bill will be in, so they'll be in his inventory already, and the field scientist equipment and one of our small experiments to Bob's seat. This way I'd free up some room in our bins. I added some additional solar panels because our prototype of the rover did have 6 and I only had 4 in here. And also I added this radial oxygen tank. Want to mount that to the rover for it to be able to go on slightly more extended excursions. One more thing before we launch. I just want to check in with Jean to see if there's any contracts we can do on our way. We've got to perform mystery goo, high space over Kerbin, so we can do that. We'll grab it. And temperature scan in high space over Kerbin. So we will grab that as well. So we've had some satellite things to move satellites. I've checked the areas for these 2 Mün science contracts and they're not anywhere near our landing site, so we'll ignore those for now. Escape trajectory, explore Duna, pick up that eventually. Precision satellite, and no, okay. I think we've got everything we can do on our Mün mission, so you can see those 2 we just picked up, and that test the larger command pod landed on the Mün, which we've had for a while. Alright, and with that, I think we are ready to head to the launch pad. Okay, here we are on the launch pad. Halney, Bill, and Bob are in the capsule, and the fairings have been attached. We are now ready for launch. I will turn it over to Jean to do the countdown.
8, 7, 8, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I'm going to do a slightly more aggressive ascent profile than I have in the past. We've been doing them pretty inefficiently. Been trying to avoid re-entry effects on launches. But if we want to get this as efficient as possible, we're going to have to do a fairly shallow ascent. Fighting gravity is a bigger deal than fighting the atmosphere. I want to be at 45 degrees at 10 to 15 kilometers, and then 90 degrees at around 30 to 40 kilometers. Bob looks a little freaked out right now. We're still in the fairing, so we can't see anything outside. Holly seems to be enjoying herself. These boosters are gonna burn for quite a while, get us most of the way into orbit. The core stage is a little bit underpowered. It's one of the reasons for going in nice and shallow like this. Really starting to heat up with compression heating now. Let's check the temperature of our fairing. So it's up at 300. It's 300K. It's 300 Kelvin, that's not actually hot. Well, it's manageable in any case. Not cutting any overheat warnings. Apoapsis is going to be out of the atmosphere shortly. Our boosters are almost depleted. There they go, so let's jettison the boosters. And they will peel away. Quite pretty, actually. Okay, I'm actually going to kill our engine. And set up our maneuver node at Apoapsis. A burn of 110 seconds. If we actually make it all the way into orbit with our core stage here, I'm going to jettison it before the periapsis is completely out of the atmosphere. This way it will decay and crash back into Kerbin. Don't want to leave any junk in space. And crossing that 70 kilometer boundary means we are now officially in space. Let's jettison our fairing. Now our crew can see into space. Off the fairing goes. Crash back into Kerbin. Looks like everyone's pretty excited to be up here. Okay, we're getting ready to start our circularization burn. Okay, full throttle. You can see we are pulling away from our fairings back in the distance. Our engine is starting to overheat, but it's going to be out of fuel before it explodes. Looks like we're entering orbit. We just need to get our periapsis up to 70. Okay, I'm going to kill the throttle now and decouple our transfer stage, so our core will decay back into the atmosphere. Let's just start up our 3 LV909 engines. Just finished orbital insertion. 69 and 70 kilometers. We are in orbit. Well done, L6 Inferno. We got our gray vector into orbit. Let's see, I don't think any of the Kerbals have been on EVA before. Let's check our mystery goo, see if we can get any extra data. Oh, a little bit. Okay. Just low space right now. We'll get Bob to go on EVA and retrieve that and reset the container. So if Bob will enter the airlock. You can see we've got a world first milestone for performing a spacewalk in orbit of Kerbin. 12,000 funds. Got 1 reputation, but it got converted to science. But not enough to be a whole science point. So I'll get rid of that. Let's, Okay, Bob, looks like you're gonna have to swing around. Oh, here we go. Okay. Looks like we won't have to use our RCS pack after all. We can collect it from here. Remove data. Restore. And our mystery goo is reset. Okay, re-enter the capsule now. Getting all these messages that our stages or boosters are being destroyed. You can still see our core stage back there. Plot our trajectory to the Mün. Looks like our departure burn is coming up pretty soon. I want it to be about here. So there is our encounter. What kind of periaps are we looking at? 110,000? Okay. We can work with that. We'll adjust it when we get part way along. Do want to come in inclined as well. Yeah, we'll fix that once we're halfway along. Let's get ready to do our Kerbin departure burn. Deploy our antenna so we stay in contact with Kerbin. So I'd like to rotate our spacecraft around just so it's up relative to our camera here. There we go. So what were those experiments? Mystery goo in high space and temperature scan in high space. Okay. We will get that en route. So I think the next thing is just our departure burn. Mün is coming over the horizon. And time to burn. Our crew now has their helmets off now that the drama of the launch is over. Pretty happy now that we are safely in space. While we are burning, I'm just going to move some fuel around. So we'll take from these toroidal tanks into here. From these ones as well. And from our FLT 200s. And should have done that into the top tank. I think we are in good shape as far as fuel goes. Glad our core got us all the way into orbit. Is there more in here? A little bit. Let's just get the last little bit out and into here. Okay, so we've gotten everything from our little side tanks. We are almost complete our maneuver. There it is. Okay, now we're just going to coast up to the Mün. We'll do a adjustment to our orbit partway along, and also do those high space experiments. I will speak to you once we get to the halfway point. Okay, I've just created this maneuver node here that should put us into a fairly inclined orbit of the Mün, periapsis of about 50 kilometers. Before we do that, I'm going to do the high space experiments that we had contracts for. So let's take a look here. So we got mystery goo and temperature. So let's do those, starting with the mystery goo. The goo seems to have changed color somewhat after passing through Kerbin's radiation belts. Okay, we'll keep that. Okay, we still have to recover that before the contract will complete. So next, let's do our temperature scan. So log temperature. Nothing too interesting here. Recovery will get us another 2 science. And yep, so we've completed those 2. Let's just see if any of the other instruments, I don't think the seismic can do anything here, no. That makes sense. Craft seems to be wobbling a little bit. That's okay. Let's do a pressure scan, see if that's available. Yep, we're in vacuum. If we recover that, we'll get another 3.5. What about crew reports? Okay, no, it looks like we already did all we can do for crew reports from high space. So, Bob, we're going to get you to step out of the airlock once again to go reset that mystery goo container. Maybe there'll be an EVA report we can do. Okay, let's see. I think if we... there we go. Okay, collect the data. And restore. And take data from our thermometer. Store everything back in here. We can do an EVA report. And no, doesn't look like we can get anything new from that. So let's cycle back through the airlock. Okay, let's get aligned with our maneuver node now. Be about 4 minutes until our burn, so let's just time warp forward a little bit. Okay, we're close enough. Let's do it. Just about there. Oops. Alright, let's see how we are looking. No, it looks like we lost our Mün encounter. Guess we went a little bit too far on our normal vector. So I think, oh, we got it back. I think, yeah. Well, let's just burn anti-normal just a bit to make sure it doesn't disappear again. Okay. So that should stay. There's Kerbin. Just got a view of the ring of the illuminated atmosphere. Alright, now we're just going to sail over to the Mün. And I will speak to you again once we're ready to do our capture burn. We are not quite at our maneuver node yet, but we do have now some high space over the Mün science to do. So we just entered the Mün's sphere of influence, so we can see here. Periapsis seems a little higher than I remember, but that's floating point errors for you. So let's take a look what Science Alert has for us here. So, brand new crew report. You look at the surface of the Mün and try to find a good landing space. The inside of the craters might be the best option. Okay, so we'll keep that. And now we have an EVA report to do as well. Let's check the mystery goo, see if there's anything new we can glean here. So we have to reset it, then we'll have to send Bob outside yet again. But if not, then maybe one of the other crew would like to step outside. So let's take a look at the mystery goo. Goo behaves much as it did around Kerbin. And yeah, we will get a little bit of science. So it looks like it's Bob's turn yet again. Let's check all our other instruments just to see if there's any... Oh, we still have something in there. What the temperature? Yep, we got some stuff there. Okay. Bob, could you please step out of the airlock yet again? Oh, hold on there, Bob. Bit of sliding. Okay, let's take the data from there and all that, and from the mystery goo, collect and restore. Mystery goo is functional again. Let's take our thermometer data. Store all that back in there. Okay, let's do an EVA report now. Nothing significant to report, looks like. That's still 6.5 science. And let's see if the pressure sensor is reading anything new. Same as before, but a little bit more science, so we'll keep that, take it, and we can re-enter the capsule. Okay, now I think that's all we have to do here. We can set up our maneuver node. Let's take a look here. It's not quite as inclined as I would like it to be. I'm just going to use the maneuver node to make sure I get the right normal vector. Let's get normal and anti-normal mixed up. Let's turn that off and then just burn a bit here, follow our normal vector as it moves. See if we can get it high enough. think it should be pretty good. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that now. Okay. Let's add a maneuver here to set up our circularization. That's good enough. Now, not sure what orientation the Mün is going to be when we get here. So I'm not sure how many orbits we're going to want to do before we land. I'm going to figure that out after we do our circularization. So let's just warp forward to our maneuver node. Get ourselves pointed in the right direction first. Okay, this will be just a moment. Or I guess just about an hour for our Kerbals. Okay, we are just about ready to burn. Re-enabled my cursor again because I had left it off mistakenly yet again. Okay, let's burn. Just about done here. And cut the engines. Okay, we are in orbit around the Mün. Although I think this is still high space. You might want to do some science at low space. So let's keep burning retrograde until our periapsis is below 30 or so. A little more. Okay. So at periapsis we can do some low space science. And let's see about our landing site. It's up here. So I think... Why is this not working? There we go. Okay, if we stay in orbit for a few more, I think this part of the Mün should rotate towards our destination point here. Might still want to burn normal a bit. Yeah, I think that looks good. Okay, let's warp down to periaps. Around we go. Okay, now let's look at our science we have available on the dark side here. Craft is glowing a little bit from, I think that's from the ladder. It has a light on it. It stays on all the time. We got crew report. Okay, landing inside craters again. Let's check the mystery goo. Is there anything new here? Little teeny bit. Goo is reacting to trace elements. Let's check all our other instruments. Some more pressure data. Nothing new temperature wise. Guess our probe's got all that information. Let's get Bob out of our airlock again. No, hold on, Bob. There we go. And should have an EVA report. just above Mün's Midlands. I guess there's an EV report for every biome. So might want to have Bob sitting on the outside for a while to observe different biomes from outside the ship. Looks like, oh, we got a world first. Performed a spacewalk in orbit around the Mün. Alright. I'll get Bob to reset our mystery goo, and then we'll probably get one of our other crew members out here. Collect the data. And restore. Let's pull everything out and put it back in. Reset the crew report. And board. Okay, how are we doing here? Let's get a little bit closer to our maneuver node. See how the Mün's rotation is doing. Looks like we're over the highlands now. Halney, I bet you're eager to step outside the ship, so you can cycle through the airlock now. Oh look, nice view of Kerbin coming over the horizon. That's pretty. But we are out here for an EVA report. Highland craters. Keep that data. And store it. Highland craters. Oh, and highlands. Okay, highlands and highland craters are different. So let's keep that. And store it. Okay, Halney's gonna stay out here and watch the Kerbin rise. Hopefully get some more EVA reports from above different biomes. Farside crater. Keep the data. Halney's pretty thrilled to be out here. Midland craters. I think that's new. We got Highland craters, but not Midland craters. So EVA report. I guess our craft is spinning around because Halney needs to be at the controls. Bill and Bob don't know what they're doing. So let's cycle back through the airlock. Now we can put our stability assist back on. Let's see. Yeah, I think one more orbit. Okay, Bill, you look a little unhappy about your current situation. So is Bob. I don't know what you guys are afraid of. Anyway, we're gonna send Bill on an EVA, because he's the only one that has not done so yet. So through the airlock with him. What do you think, Bill? Ooh. Pretty spooky. You'll get used to it though. Drifting away from our vessel. But again, we got plenty of EVA fuel. Oh, Northern Basin, that's new. Okay. On our next orbit, we will definitely be landing. Okay, Bill, you're gonna stay out here suited up for a while. Yeah, I know. You got lots of oxygen, water, food. Everything will be fine. Let's just let you go. Time warp forward. I think we've pretty much gotten all the EV reports from our current orbital path. Oop. Let's grab on there. And back into the capsule. Yeah, we already got that one. Alright. It's another Kerbin rise. Here is our... So we might go for a few more orbits. Don't think we're going to get any new biomes before it's landing time. So I'm just going to pass a few more orbits by. And then I'll speak to you again once our landing site is, or rather our maneuver node path is over the landing site. Okay, we've done several more orbits, and I adjusted our maneuver node just a little bit. So I think we are coming up on our deorbit burn. So let's get lined up with our maneuver node. Let's just time warp forward until we get to the right point. Almost there. Okay, let's burn. We are now suborbital. Okay, almost. And there we go. Okay, I'm gonna wait until we get a little bit closer, and then I will start burning retrograde. Okay, we're just passing over the polar crater now, at an altitude of 40 kilometers and descending rapidly. Fuel tanks are about half, so I'm going to move a bit of fuel around again. Let's grab all these little end tanks. And transfer them here. And why can I not? Maybe I have too many selected. Yeah, okay. Should be able to do it with 4, I think. Okay, more in. These little tanks really don't hold very much. Mostly use them just for aesthetic purposes. Oh, I used those already. I thought there was 2 that I... Yeah, here we go. Okay, in. And these larger ones. Okay, you see the Better Burn Time mod here has an estimated burn of 54 seconds to reduce our velocity to 0 and an impact on the surface in 75 seconds. Let's see where exactly we are. Okay. Gonna wait just a little longer until we're over the lip of the crater. Let's set Halney to keep that retrograde. Okay, let's start burning now. Try to make sure we have a reasonably flat area to land in. I don't see where exactly that site that we located from orbit is. We'll have to try to go find it with our rover. Let's extend our landing gear to get ready for landing. I think we're going to end up landing in one of these small sub-craters here. Just going to change this to stability assist. Okay, I think here or so might be good. Let's try to just kill our horizontal velocity now. Push that retrograde marker to the top of the nav ball. Bill looks somewhat concerned. Bob not so much. Halney is thrilled as usual. Okay, coming up on final descent now. Look, our velocity is just about vertical now. We'll hold retrograde. Hopefully this area is reasonably flat. Just going to cut the throttle down a little bit. We'll do a final burn once we get a little closer. Okay, let's bring our throttle up. Change it to stability assist. Oh, maybe this is not as flat as I thought. I'm just going to move this way. It's a bit of a hill here. Hold retrograde. Okay, this looks a little better. Still a little bit inclined, but I think we're okay. Careful. Easy. Oop, oop, oop. Aha! Okay. We have landed on the surface of the Mün. Bill, Bob, and Halney have become the first Kerbals to land on another celestial body. Let's see what science we can do from the cabin before we get out. We've got everything. Let's do a crew report. Peer out of the cabin and take notes. Mystery goo. Goo behaves similarly here as it does in space. Not a big surprise. Temperature. Temperature varies between night and day, sort of like the desert. Seismic. Sensor picks up distant impacts on the surface reflecting along the interior of the Mün. And for an EVA report, well, Who wants to be the first to step on the surface? Let's extend our ladder. Well, we are fairly egalitarian here, so I think we're just going to let chance decide. Let's roll a dice. 1 or 2 it's Bob, 3 or 4 it's Bill, and 5 or 6 it's Holly. And that is a 4. Bill, you are going to be the first. Let's take you on EVA. Bill is descending down the ladder of the Gray Vector. And here we go for one small step for Kerbal kind. Almost fell over there, Bill. That wouldn't have made very good TV. And we are on the surface. Bill is just thrilled to be here. And we got a world first milestone. We have walked on the surface of the Mün. That's just great. Let's see, we've got EVA report to do. Dust covering the surface is very fine. It's getting into all your equipment. Well, hopefully it won't cause too much problems. We can do a surface sample as well. The sample appears to be comprised of a large number of materials layered over time. Interesting. Okay. Let's get the rest of the crew out. Only your turn. Down we come. Guess that ladder is at an awkward angle. Holly almost fell over as well. Gravity is quite low. Oh. Alright. Bob, your turn. If you could just reset our experiments while you're up there. Let's collect the data from the goo canister and restore it to functionality. And let's take the data from all our small instruments and store everything back in the capsule. See if Bob falls off the ladder as well. Nope. Bob is clearly the master of ladders. Wow, we got a Kerbin rise and everything. Interesting landscape. This is just great. Alright, I'm just going to get Holly to plant a flag. Leave a mark of Kerbal kind on the surface. Plant flag. Alright, the flag of the Kerbal Commonwealth. We'll call it landing site of the Gray Vector. We come in peace for all Kerbal kind. Jebediah and Valentina have come out to Mission Control's telescope to observe the Mün, look up at that distant world where their friends currently are, almost an unfathomable distance away, and they excitedly discuss what will be found up there and about their own futures in space. In the next episode, Bill will construct our Mün rover on the surface, and we will explore the Mün and attempt to find that mysterious object spotted by Lilypad 1 in orbit. Until then, this has been Promi. Thanks for watching.